Alright, this is Vern, the camera guy with Camera Vision. We're going to do a video tutorial on a 4-channel NVR on how to set up the ActiveX and log in and operate the NVR. First of all, I'm running a Windows PC, so this is only applicable to a Windows PC. What we need to do is we need to go down here and open up Internet Explorer. I'm running Windows 7. So it opens up here. We're going to go over here to our gear up here. It says Tools. If we open this up and if we look at this right here, we see we're down here to Internet Options. If I close that, if I go over here to Tools, you'll notice that I can get Internet Options over here too. It gives me the exact same thing in both places. So if you're running an older version, if you're running XP or 7, you may not have this little gear up here. And in some versions you may not have the toolbar here where it says Tools. So I've gotten used to opening this up here, so we go down here to Internet Options. In Internet Options, what you want to do is open up the Security tab, and then we're going to allow ActiveX settings. The NVR needs to download an ActiveX setting into your computer. So we're going to go down here to Custom Level, and it opens up, and then what we have here is that we have up here highlighted in blue, this is the header title, and underneath here is the subcategories. So some of these will have 2 and some of them will have 3. We're going to scroll down and we're going to look for the header that says ActiveX. This one right here says ActiveX Controls and Plugins. Everything underneath here, if it says ActiveX in it, in this line here, this one here, or this one here, we're going to make a change to it. Now I've already had mine set, so there's probably no changes that need to be set. Now beware that once in a while Windows will do an update, and when they do an update, these settings will get changed back and it will lock you out of your NVR or your DVR, and you may have to come back in here and reset these. So basically what we're looking for is if it has the word ActiveX in the header above it and it has 2 lines, you're going to say Enable. We scroll down here and see this one has the word ActiveX in it right here, and that's Enable. This is Allow Scriptlets. We're not going to touch that. This one here, ActiveX, Enable. Binary Behavior, there's no ActiveX, so we're going to leave that alone. This one here, no ActiveX, we're going to leave this alone. Now this one right here has the word ActiveX in it, and we have 3 options. If it has 3 options, you're going to say Prompt. And you're going to go and you're going to do that all the way down until you hit the next main header, which is Downloads. This is the main header, this is the subheader. So again, we go back up here. This is the main header, this is the subheader. So everything that has ActiveX under the main header until we hit the next main header, we're going to either click Prompt if it has 3 selections, and Enable if it has 2. Then we're going to say OK, and then when we say OK, if this is the first time you make those changes, over here in this area on the side, it will pop up and it will say, are you sure you want to apply these? You say yes, you click apply, and then come back here and say OK, and then say OK. If this apply is highlighted, click apply and then say OK, and then you're good to go. Then you need to type in your IP address in order to go there. Now if you're doing this the first time, you may experience a little bit of a delay, so just be patient. It may take 15-20 seconds for the prompts to show up. Sometimes the prompts will show up in the middle of the screen. Sometimes the prompt will show up in a yellow information bar down here and asking you what you want to do. Wherever it shows up, you want to say allow. Sometimes Windows will try to block you. If you're running a virus program, sometimes virus programs will block you. Okay, so I already know the IP address. I already have it in my computer. So I'm going to go down here, and for me, I'm on an internal IP address. So I'm going to click that, and it's searching for that. and then the username and the password pops up. The default username is admin. The default password is 6 ones, 111 111. Then I say OK. Now, if this was the very first time that I was logging into this, I would not see this quick. There would be a couple of more steps that I would need to take once I typed in that address and selected enter. I wouldn't see this. So pretend this is not here for right now. Okay, this screen at all, pretend this is not here. After I clicked enter, it would sit there and it would work and work and work and act like it's not doing anything. If you're running Windows 7 or Windows 8, you need to come back up here to this gear, come down here to compatibility view settings. Click on this. Come over here and you'll notice that this IP address is the same IP address that I have up here. Okay? Now your IP address is going to be different than mine, but it's right here, it's already filled in, and I say add. So then we close it. The other thing you want to do, and I just had an exception happen here, okay. I think it happened because I've already added that IP address there, so it's messing with me. Alright, so I come back up here again, I come down here to Internet Options, okay. Now, this will only work as long as this IP address is up here, okay. I'm going to go to the Security tab, Trusted Sites, and then the Site tab. The IP address is here. I need to make sure that this box is unchecked. This box, if it's checked, it's only going to allow the HTTPS. We're not running an S, we're only running the HTTP. So it automatically fills this in because it reads it from up here, and I say add. And then I say close, and then I say OK. Once I do that, then what I'll do is I will refresh the window with the IP address. Hang on here, I'm having some exceptions because I'm doing stuff twice here. Come on, go away. Okay, there we go. So now, once I refresh it, then the login will come back up, and then the I'll type in my admin and my 6 ones, and then this window pops up. Now we're logged into the NVR. Now that you're logged into the NVR with your Windows machine, I only have one camera connected to this, and if you have 4 cameras, then all 4 cameras will pop up. If you want to watch them live and you have enough bandwidth, you have enough internet speed, then you can watch all 4 of them. If you notice that things are running really slow, then right click on the screens that you don't want to watch and close them. So you can do that on all of them. You can right click and you can go around and close them, and then you can just open up the one that you want. Now notice that this darker line around here, this indicates the active screen. If I click over here, this is the active screen, and so on. So if I want the camera to show up in this square here, I need to click on that in order to make that active, and then I double click, and then the video will pop up here. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to right click. They made some changes in this, and I'm used to double clicking. You have your selection between low definition, standard definition, and high definition. I click that and it pops up. If I want to see this full screen, I can double click and I can see it full screen. If I double click again, it goes back. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click here. This here is to record what I'm seeing to my computer. Now it's already recording to your NVR, so it's not necessary to record to your computer. And then here you have capture, which means a snapshot. I'll show you where those settings are here shortly. So I'm going to close this, and we're going to go into the configuration settings now. You need to be very careful when you go into these configuration settings because you can really lock yourself out of here. This first icon up here, it says video capture. is this over here. Notice when I click on these, this window changes. Okay, this video capture here, video captured time is 5 minutes. Now I can change this. Now this video capture time is relating to the window that we just pulled up. So for instance, over here, if I have this open and I right click and I say record, it's going to start recording and it's going to record for that length of time. Okay, so this is what this setting here is for. This right here is where it's being stored. If you are clicking the video capture or to capture a snapshot, this is where it's going to be saved to. This is your browse button. You click here, it'll browse. You can click, put an icon on your desktop. I've already done this, and you can say that you want it saved to your new video folder, and then you can say OK, and then it puts it here and say submit, and now you have this video directed to a folder, so when you back it up and you save it, it knows where to go. The next icon down here is our network settings. This you need to be very careful in. I wouldn't suggest you make any changes in here unless you're really an expert on this. Right now, this NVR is set up to DHCP, which means it acquires its IP address automatically. I can uncheck this and I can make it a static IP, which means this IP address that I put in here will never change. I typically will have this last octet right here where this 10 is. This is an octet. I typically have this at a higher number, above 100, in order to keep from having IP conflicts. Okay, that's a whole different tutorial though. This next one here is the listening ports. These are the ports that need to be port forwarded. This one here you can change. You can change this like to 88 or to 4000 if you're going to do port forwarding. If you're going to use the QR code and scan this with your mobile device, your phone, or your tablet, do not change these. If you're going to do port forward, then you can manipulate these, but again, you need to be an expert on this. UPnP is automatically checked. This is what makes the QR code work. Do not uncheck this unless you're doing port forwarding. Here we have email. I've already have my settings in here. If you're doing this through the NVR interface with the mouse connected directly to the NVR and a monitor connected directly to the NVR, and you're in this window on the NVR, you'll notice that there's an extra button down here on there, and it's a test button. You can click it and it will test and actually check to make sure that all your configurations are correct. That's a nice feature. I wish they put it on this interface here. And then DDNS if you want to use a free DDNS service. Okay, then we go down to the next icon here. This is storage management. This is the hard drive. This has a 1 terabyte hard drive. This is the capacity of it. This is what's left. If I click refresh, it's going to refresh it if I've been in this one for very long. So this just tells me what size it is. On the NVR, you can format this. On here, they don't give you that option. Loop video, it simply means it's going to start once the hard drive is full. It's going to start recording over the very first video that it recorded. So if you started recording on January 1st at midnight, on February 1st at midnight, if the hard drive is full, it's going to start recording over. There's no exact mathematical formula that you can put to this because it's all driven by how much motion and color saturation that there is as to how fast the video is going to get used up. So the loop video down here is so that you can loop it, and then you click submit if you make changes there. The next tab up here is timer recording. Now I do not have this checked because I'm recording on motion. You don't want to have this box checked and also have the box checked under motion recording also, unless you have cameras configured differently. For instance, I could have camera number 2 and I could have that selected and record by timer recording or by the schedule from midnight to midnight. and I can have camera number 1 selected and have that record by motion, which is set over here. This is the motion settings. So you do not want the same camera checked in both places, otherwise it will duplicate that recording and it will eat up your hard drive even faster. It's like making two identical recordings of the very same thing over and over and over again, and you don't want that. Okay, so you have 4 different periods here. So let's say I wanted to record by the schedule. So I can go to camera number 2 here. I already have that one checked, and I can select this, and I can say in period number 1 I want to record on the schedule, say from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. So I would have it from 0800 hours to 1200 hours. And then if I said I don't want to record for the rest of the day until it gets to be 6 o'clock, and from 6 o'clock I want to record from 6 o'clock on. So I would check this one, and then this one I would check this one from 6 o'clock on. That would be 1800 hours. And let's say I only wanted to go to 9 o'clock, this would be 2100 hours. So it would only record during that time and wouldn't record any other time. So that's a nice setting, and you can mix and match this however you want, and you can do that by camera. So let your imagination do the walking there. This right here is how long the file size is going to be. You got 15, 30, 45, and 60. I always set it to the lowest. It's going to break the files up. So if you're like this one here is recording all day long for a 24-hour period, it's going to break this day up into 15-minute files is how that works. Okay. Then you would click submit if you made any changes there. Excuse me. Now we go over here to alarm settings. We're looking up here in this top section here, and this is all has to do with the motion settings. Okay, so we've got channel 1. This is the week Sunday, and we can copy to the week if we want. We can say which days we want it to be selected on. And here we have period number 1. This is very typical right here. On 99.9% of all recorders that I set them up on motion and record 24 hours a day. You can make changes to that if you find that your motion is not sensitive enough at nighttime, and you may want to change to schedule or timer recording at nighttime and only motion during the day. In which case, you would this is a case where you would select motion and timer recording on the same camera. So for instance, let's say during the day I can see real good and my motion's doing good, so say from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. So I would go 0800 to what would that be, 2000 hours, which would be 8 o'clock at night. And so that's my daylight, say that's my daylight hours, and I would do that here, and I would have that checked. Then I would go back over here, and this one here on camera number 1, I would select this one, and I would say I want to record from 2000 hours to 0800 hours in the morning, and select that. And you play around with these, and you can experiment with those. Okay. Down here we've got the alarm method. Okay, so it's going to record. That's the alarm method. The settings in here is that we can copy these. The pre-alarm, which means it's going to start record. It's going to capture video from seconds before the motion happened until 20 seconds after the motion happened. So those are really nice. And then in here, of course, you can select the days of the week, or you can say apply to all, whichever you want to do. Okay. The email settings are right here. You can set it up to send you an email. We talked about these in the other section there. Okay. And let me get back. Okay, that's just a link back to that same page. Now here is the motion. this is your motion screen. Right now it's all highlighted like a yellow haze. And if I want to change this, I can right click and I can any place where I right click, it's getting rid of motion. So let's say I don't want motion on this tree, okay? Or better yet, let's say over here where the swing's at, I don't want motion. I can actually right click up here, hold it, drag it down like I'm dragging a box out and let go, and it'll shade all of those. So now if somebody was sitting in this swing and they were swinging, it would not pick that motion up. Okay? You can do this in reverse if you want to. So right now I'm going to left click and I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to let go. Right click, unselects, left click, selects. Okay? Let's say I had a door and I only want to record where the door's at. All right, I didn't care about anything else, or I had a display case, or I had a valuable piece of art, and I didn't care about anything else in the room. But if somebody walked through that door or touched that display case or moved that art, I want to see it. So we're going to say that this tree right here is my door. Okay, so I want to get rid of the video on everything else. I don't want it to select motion on anything else except for where my door's at. Okay, so I am dragging and I'm just pretending that my tree is a door here. Okay, so we're pretending that this is a door. Any place else out here, there is absolutely no recording going to happen if somebody's here. But right here where my door is at, that would be where motion would be. Okay, so you can do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything back the way it was because I want the whole thing to record on motion. And then we have one last tab down here, and this is the system settings. This is right here, and this screen here is where you would change your date and time for your time change. This right here is if you wanted to see what local is. For instance, if you're in two different time zones, and say I have the NVR is here. I'm in Florida, but I'm visiting in California, and I'm logging into it. This would show me my local time, and this would show me the time where the recorder's at. Okay. Up here, User Manager. This is where you can change the admin address. You're not going to change the admin username itself, but you can change the password. Simply click this once, highlight it, say modify, erase this. This is the 6 ones. Erase that and type a new one in. Now, if you forget this password, if you forget that, then you have to reset the whole system, and all the settings that we've been talking about will be wiped out, including your IP addresses and everything. It will all be gone, and you don't want to do that, so don't forget this. Okay, so I always leave them set at 6 ones. The reason I do is that somebody has to know the IP address in order to get into it, so it's usually not a problem. Okay, and then of course you can select submit after you change that. If you want to add one, you can add one. This is only going to add for the users, all right, or the operator, which is a lower authority level than the admin. Put your username up here and your password down here, and then select submit, and that's going to limit you as to what you can do in here. The next one is system maintenance. I have this one set. I have it enabled, and I have it set so that it will reboot itself at midnight on Tuesday. You don't want to do it every day of the week, but it's good to select just one day of the week and redo it and do that. Restore factory settings is like setting pushing the reset button on the back of it. If you do that, all the settings go back to factory, and you start with a blank slate. Reboot device simply means it's going to shut down and reboot just like you would with Windows. You can do that. This is the version and of the software, the firmware that's in it, and then this is the software upgrade or the firmware upgrade. Do not do this unless you really understand what you're doing here. You can really mess things up here too, and make this thing completely unusable by doing that. Okay, so that's all the configuration settings. Over here on the right hand side, this is pan, tilt, and zoom settings. unless you have a pan, tilt, and zoom camera, these do not work. Now this is not for digital zoom, okay? All right, this is for an optical and mechanical pan, tilt, and zoom camera, and these are the settings down here for it. This right here is it so that you can manipulate the colors of the cameras, and this here is it so that you can work on the image orientation and then operate scenario. And if you're in the east, if you're in the like over in the United Kingdom and Europe, that's 50 hertz. Here we are 60 hertz. Okay. So let's go up here to video playback. This icon, the first icon, is the live viewer, which is where we started. This is playback. This is configuration, and this actually here will reboot the DVR. If you click that, it will ask you, are you sure you want to reboot the device? In order to log out, you simply just close the browser out with this. They don't have a log out button. Alright, so we click this one here, this is the playback. Over here on the left hand side you see your cameras. Over here on the right hand side we see, by default it comes up with today's date. We see the type, which is simply alarm, motion, a schedule, or manual. I always leave it just all. And then we have our different cameras here. So since we only have one camera hooked up to it, I'm just going to select channel number 1. I'm actually going to go back to yesterday, and then I'm going to tell it to search. Here we see that it has all of our search information, right? And we can click on this. Now see here where we have schedule and we have motion. Notice that this set of numbers right here, it ends with 351, is identical to this one. But this one says motion, this one says schedule. This was before I went in and changed the settings around. Okay? This is what happens when you have both of them checked. Both of these are identical. If I click on this one, it comes up and it shows me, see 1203 or 1503, 56. I right click, I close it, I come down here, double click on this one, the very same video. I'm recording it twice because I have it checked in both areas. That's what you don't want to do. Alright, once you look at this video and you say, yep, that's the video that I want to download this video. Okay? Then you simply right click, stop it, do not download video or search for video when you have other video up. Okay, you want this closed out, and you also want the video closed out over in the live area there. So now I want to download this video. Let's see, I want to make sure this is not a very large file, and it is. I'm actually going to go back up here to this one, and I'm going to download this one because this is a smaller file. So I'm going to say download, and right now we are downloading, and that downloaded to my desktop. So now if I minimize this and I go to my desktop and I have a file up here, it said no new video downloaded. And here's the one that I just downloaded. I was playing with this one yesterday. This is the one that I just did. And I double click on this and it comes up, and now she's playing back for me. We see the time clicking by. I can jump forward in it if I want. You know. So that's all good. So now I have the video downloaded to my computer and I have it saved, and I have found my perpetrator. Okay. That is about all there is to this. I hope this helps. So if you have any questions, you know my phone number. Give me a call and I will be glad to talk with you and answer any other questions. God bless and have a good day.